Hiding the bag, Dawn crept through the blinds, painting warm stripes of light on the floor.
Lily nhớ là Lily không chịu ăn luôn á.
Rồi, hư ha. Lấy hư hả?
In the quiet, a big plan was in motion. Lily, on her tiny bare feet, was tiptoeing. She was using all her might to drag her dad's heavy work briefcase. Her little face was red with effort, but her eyes shone with a mischievous determination. She hid the bag in the most secret place in the house. Mission complete, Lily returned to the bedroom, quietly climbed into bed, and snuggled up to her dad. Daddy, wake up! Her voice was bright and clear.
Ủa, cái gì Ly? Trời ơi, dậy sớm
Her
hả?
dad stirred, opened his eyes, and smiled at his little girl. Good morning, princess.
Sớm thế. Chà. Sớm thế nhỉ? Này, ôm chặt này. Gì? Gì vậy Ly? Nè, ôm chặt lại nha.
The two of them made the bed together. Every small action was filled with gentleness.
Đây Ly.
Dad showed Lily, his voice still sleepy but incredibly patient.
Em đứng lên nào.
That's right. Pull that corner of the blanket over here.
Rồi, kéo qua đây.
Lily followed along,
Kéo qua đây. Nè.
her little hands clumsy but full of pride as she finished her tasks.
Nè. Ôm chặt lại nha. Cắt đi nha. Đây nữa. Đúng rồi. Này, kéo qua đây này. Đây, kéo này, cận đây. Kéo qua đây. Đó, đúng rồi. Rồi, cắt đi nhá. Này. Bỏ lên kia đi. Đây. Đây, đây bà chị đó. Phá nữa. Bỏ lên kia đi con.
And then,
Rồi.
now we pat the pillows to make them fluffy. Put them up there, sweetie.
Đây nhá. Rồi, đi thôi. Đi nào.
After the room was tidy, it was time to get washed. Dad swooped Lily up and carried her to the bathroom.
Bay làm nhá. Thấy chưa? Nào. Đây, đi vào đây con.
He patiently guided his daughter.
Đây, đây.
Okay, let's brush the inside teeth first.
Đúng rồi.
Now this side.
Đánh
That's
hàm, đánh
right.
hàm nữa con, đánh hàm,
Bite
đánh
down
hàm, đánh
gently
hàm.
on the brush so it cleans your teeth.
Đúng rồi, bên này.
Lily obeyed,
Này.
toothpaste foam getting on her nose, making her dad chuckle.
Đúng rồi đấy, cắn vậy cho nó sạch cái răng nhá. Được rồi. Xuống miệng đi. Rồi, đi này.
When Lily showed off her sparkling white teeth, Dad announced, just like any other day, Okay, time for Dad to get ready for work. Dad turned to grab his familiar briefcase.
Lily có thấy túi bao không? Ừ?
But
Không thấy
where
à?
was it? He looked around the room under the bed.
Oh my gosh!
Ủa?
He turned to the only suspect, who was standing silently, watching him with wide eyes.
Ừ?
Hey, Lily, have you seen my bag? Lily, of course, just tilted her head and kept perfectly silent.
Sao ba hay quên thế à?
Finally, he sighed. Oh, well, it must be around here somewhere. Let's go make some breakfast. Okay? I'll look for it later.
Đi đâu ăn ha? Này nấu gì ăn nhé. Nấu gì ăn nhé. Đi ra tủ nấu gì ăn nhé.
As soon as they walked over to Lily's little toy kitchen, the culprit was revealed.
Cái gì đi? Ừ? Gì đây? Trời ơi, sao túi ba nào ở đây? Hả? Mua ở đây làm gì? Ừ?
Dad's serious leather briefcase was sitting comically next to the plastic toys.
Đi. Sao?
What's this,
hả?
Lily?
Ừ?
Dad laughed. Oh my goodness, why's my bag here?
À, không sao đâu ha. Thôi thôi ha.
Her dad looked at his little girl, hugging him tightly, and his heart melted.
Ừ? Hả? Sao? Ôm chặt chứ hả?
All right, Dad laughed, ruffling her hair. Dad will stay home with Lily today, okay?
Bye bye.
As if waiting for those exact words, she let out a happy little cheer and scampered off, grabbing the bag to return to her dad, like a treaty had been signed.
Gì đâu? À, cà rốt ha. Đây. Hãy làm bí cho Ly nhé.
With Dad officially on leave, the morning shifted to their favorite activity, cooking.
Đây ha, rồi đóng tủ lại đi con, đóng tủ lại, đóng tủ lại. Đóng tủ đi, đóng tủ. Rồi, đi đây. Ngồi đi. Ngồi đi.
Lily was the perfect little chef.
Bỏ kia đi.
She carefully helped her dad put carrots and then pumpkin into a bowl.
Cái này mình bỏ đây ha. Đó, con ngồi ngoan đi, ngồi ngoan đi ha. Vào đây này. Đúng rồi, bỏ vô đây coi. Bỏ hết rồi luôn. Bỏ hết cái này rồi ha. Đấy, bỏ hết rồi đi. Đúng rồi, hết rồi luôn. Hết rồi luôn. Đây nữa. Đây nữa. Đây là củ cải đường nhé. Rồi con bỏ cái kia đi.
Not spilling a single bit.
Đúng rồi.
Beets were added too, preparing for a brilliantly colorful soup.
Rồi con bỏ đi con, bỏ đây đi. Bỏ đi con. Đây nữa. Đúng rồi, giờ đó. Thử miếng không? Thử miếng không? Ở đây. Tí nữa hấp lên cho ngon nhé. Còn cái này sao? Không cần sao đây? Ba làm món gì cho Ly ha? Ba luộc đêm ý cho Ly nhé. Nhé. Sao? Sao? À, rồi ngồi bỏ chân xuống này, con bỏ chân xuống này. Rồi, bỏ chân xuống. Rồi. Rồi tí nhé. Đấy thìa nha, múc nha. Để làm bí cho Ly ha. Được không? Đây. Đây. Này, con bỏ vào đây này, bỏ vào đây này. Đúng rồi, nữa đi con.
When Dad finished prepping the pumpkin,
bỏ đấy đi.
Lily took a small spoon and carefully scooped every golden piece into a big bowl.
Bỏ, lấy đi. Đó. À, bây giờ làm cái nắp bỏ lên đây ha, đậy lên nha, cho đẹp nha. Thôi. Để đi ba chân nấu chín cho Ly ăn ha. Tay nào, bỏ tay nào. Rồi. Để đây nha. Rồi, đây này ra nhé. Đây này, đúng rồi. Đúng rồi, giỏi lắm. Con đậy nắp cho ba nè. Đậy đây. Đây. Cái này đầy này nha, được chưa? Đó. Rồi qua bên này, này đứng đây, sát vào đây nha.
After everything was prepped, they put the lid on the pot together.
Đẩy đi.
While waiting for the food to cook, Dad handed Lily a small cloth,
Lau đi,
and the little chef got busy wiping the table, chattering away.
lau đi con.
That's it. Good job. So clean.
Để cho bạn nào. Cảm ơn Ly.
The getting ready for work morning, which had been so stressful, had turned into the coziest morning imaginable. For Lily, there was nothing better than a whole day with her dad at home.
Đây là. Ủa sao?
One morning, Lily woke up with her tummy rumbling.
Ủa sao vậy?
But oh dear, when the door opened, Lily was shocked. The milk was all gone.
Đói bụng không? Có đói bụng không? Ở đây nè.
Seeing Lily looking sad next to the empty fridge, Dad had an idea.
Ta đang bận nhà tí nhá. Tôi đi mua giúp ba nhé, được không? Nhé. Đâu rồi nhỉ? Chết rồi, tiền bên này đâu rồi? À đây. Này cho Ly này, đi mua nhé, được không? Cho Ly lấy túi đi.
Dad's a little busy right now. Can you help Dad and go buy some milk?
Ui giời này, để bỏ cho.
Lily, wearing her neat little outfit, quickly put on her cute hat and slung the bag over her shoulder. She looked just like a big girl, ready for her mission.
Thấy chưa? Rồi, mũ lên mũ đi đi con. Mũ đây. Rồi, đi đi.
She sweetly said goodbye to her dad and scampered out the door, starting her first big adventure. Outside, Lily walked eagerly. But the road seemed a bit long, and the sun might have made her a little tired. After a short walk, Lily found a shady spot by the roadside and decided to sit down for a rest. She innocently watched the cars go by, enjoying the cool breeze. It was so peaceful. The gentle wind. And soon, Lily's eyes started to feel heavy. She had fallen asleep without even realizing it, forgetting all about her important mission, drifting into a daydream by the side of the road. Back home, Dad waited and waited, but his daughter didn't come back. He started to get worried. Oh no, where did she go? He thought, anxiously getting on his motorbike to look for her. And there she was. Dad found Lily sitting alone by the roadside, still looking a little sleepy, as if she had just woken up,
Làm gì đây?
seemingly having
Đi mua đồ
forgotten
à?
she was supposed to be
Đi mua đồ
buying
nào?
milk.
Quay lại bà bảo nào. Thôi lên đây nào, lên đây, lên đây, lên đây đứng nào. Ui giời. Thôi đi bà chở đi nhá. Làm bà đi tìm ha. Thế lâu về quá phải đi tìm đấy.
The milk mission was
Vẫn còn
officially
tiền, may
a
quá nhỉ.
failure.
Cầm đi con. Ngoan nhá. Đang đứng đây, để đây đây. Đó,
The
để
two
đây.
of them got on the motorbike and
Rồi,
rode
chạy
back
nha.
home together. Instead of milk, Dad decided to make Lily some fresh orange juice.
Làm candy ăn nhá, đúng không? Rồi, vào phương thế đi. Đây. Con bỏ mũ đây, bỏ mũ xuống. Bỏ túi xuống luôn. Đúng rồi, bỏ đây. Đúng rồi. Tôi đi này, đi này. Đi này. Anh ngồi đi con. Cầm tới.
When they got home, Dad got the oranges and a manual juicer.
Thấy không? Cắt nha.
Lily, forgetting all her tiredness, seemed even more excited than Dad.
Con xem thử nha. Đó.
When Dad cut the orange halves and handed them to her, Lily grabbed them, using all her strength to press and twist them on the juicer.
Đúng rồi. Để cái chặt nhá. Cho nó ra nước ha.
Even though she was a little clumsy, she was very focused, trying to twist hard to get out as much juice as possible.
Đúng rồi đấy con. Đấy. Đấy này. Đó, đúng rồi. Kéo. Đấy này. Đúng rồi. Kéo về. Kéo. Không phải. Kéo về. Đấy này. Kéo về này. Đúng rồi. Giỏi lắm. Nè. Đó, tiếp đi. Tiếp thử nè. Đúng rồi. Đẩy đi. Đúng rồi. Mình xoay vòng tròn nhá. Mình xoay vòng tròn nhá. Để mũi cao nó bị bể ra nhá. Ôi chà, nhiều nước quá Ly ơi. Kìa, nước nhiều quá kìa. Đúng rồi Ly. Đấy, bắt thêm lần nữa đi nào. Đúng rồi, giỏi quá. Đúng rồi Ly. Hay quá nhỉ. Ly giỏi quá. Đúng rồi, nữa đi con. Bắt mạnh lên. Đúng rồi, mạnh lên. Đúng rồi, hay quá. Ly giỏi quá. Hay quá Ly ơi. Đúng rồi Ly. Đúng rồi Ly. Đúng rồi. Đúng rồi. Hay quá Ly ơi. Đúng rồi Ly. Đúng rồi Ly. Đúng rồi. Đúng rồi. Hay quá. Trời ơi, Ly giỏi quá nhỉ. Đấy. Tí nữa một ly đầy cho Ly nhá. Ly giỏi quá. Nữa đi. Nữa đi. Đúng rồi, nữa đi. Hay quá. Đúng rồi Ly. Giỏi quá Ly. Tốt quá Ly. Ôi chà, nhiều nước quá Ly ơi. Kìa, nước nhiều quá kìa. Đúng rồi Ly. Đấy, bắt thêm lần nữa đi nào. Đúng rồi, giỏi quá. Đúng rồi Ly. Hay quá nhỉ. Ly giỏi quá. Đúng rồi, nữa đi con. Bắt mạnh lên. Đúng rồi, mạnh lên. Đúng rồi, hay quá. Ly giỏi quá. Hay quá Ly ơi. Đúng rồi Ly. Đúng rồi Ly. Đúng rồi. Đúng rồi. Ôi chà, nhiều nước quá Ly ơi. Kìa, nước nhiều quá kìa. Đúng rồi Ly. Đấy, bắt thêm lần nữa đi nào. Đúng rồi, giỏi quá. Đúng rồi Ly. Hay quá nhỉ. Ly giỏi quá. Đúng rồi, nữa đi con. Bắt mạnh lên. Đúng rồi, mạnh lên. Đúng rồi, hay quá. Ly giỏi quá. Hay quá Ly ơi. Đúng rồi Ly. Đúng rồi Ly. Đúng rồi. Đúng rồi. Tốt lắm. Đúng rồi. Hết chưa? Hết chưa? Hết chưa? Hết chưa? Hết bỏ đây con. Hết bỏ đây. Rồi.
Every time she finished a piece, Lily was very good, picking up the squeezed peel herself and putting it neatly on a plate nearby to help her dad.
Đây thì này ha. Ăn nó nhiều nước nhỉ. Đấy, nước dài thấy chưa? Này, con để tay đây. Rồi, để tay đây đi. Để tay ấn này. Đúng rồi, ấn này. Đó, đúng nước kìa. Nước kìa. Đấy, đúng rồi. Đúng rồi, đây này. Đây này. Đấy, đúng rồi. Đúng rồi, đẩy nhá. Đây này, đúng rồi. Đúng rồi đấy, đúng rồi. Kéo vậy. Đúng rồi. Đấy. Đẩy đi. Đúng rồi. Đúng rồi. Đứng lên con, đứng lên. Đúng rồi. Rồi, đẩy đi. Đẩy đi, đẩy đi, đẩy đi. Đúng rồi, đẩy đi. Ôi chà, nhiều nước quá Ly ơi. Kìa, nước nhiều quá kìa. Đúng rồi Ly. Đấy, bắt thêm lần nữa đi nào. Đúng rồi, giỏi quá. Đúng rồi Ly. Hay quá nhỉ. Ly giỏi quá. Đúng rồi, nữa đi con. Bắt mạnh lên. Đúng rồi, mạnh lên. Đúng rồi, hay quá. Ly giỏi quá. Hay quá Ly ơi. Đúng rồi Ly. Đúng rồi Ly. Đúng rồi. Ngoan nha. Đi bỏ này vào kia cho ba cái. Đúng rồi. Đây. Này nữa coi. Này vừa ăn vừa uống thì ngon lắm đi nhá. Bỏ đi coi. Đây nữa này. Đây nữa coi. Đây nữa. Rồi chờ ba tí. Đây bỏ đây. Đúng rồi. Tốt quá. Đây. Đây ha.
And finally, the result. A glass of bright yellow, fresh orange juice. Lily proudly held the glass she had helped make and took a delicious sip. Watching her drink so happily, maybe this homemade orange juice was even better than milk. The afternoon sun began to paint the winding village road yellow. Little Lily, just out of school with her small backpack, was happily walking home. The village road was peaceful today. With only the sound of the wind rustling through the green trees. Lily was busy watching the clouds float by when she suddenly stopped. Right in front of her, nestled by the roadside, was a big, round, shiny green watermelon. A watermelon! Here, on the familiar road she walked every day? 1, 2, 3, roll! She cheered herself on. Using all her strength, Lily started to roll the watermelon. It seemed to work well. The watermelon rolled ahead, and Lily trotted along right behind it.
Bây giờ đi học về em chưa thấy à?
But the biggest challenge was waiting up ahead, a pretty steep hill. Getting her new round friend down the hill safely was a tough problem. However, after just a few seconds of thinking, Lily came up with her own solution. She took a deep breath and used all her might to give the watermelon a big push, letting it roll down the hill first. Immediately, Lily ran as fast as she could right after it. Phew! In the end, both Lily and the watermelon landed safely at the bottom of the hill. And so Lily continued her journey. The watermelon was quite heavy, so every time she rolled it for a little while, she would stop to rest and wipe the sweat from her forehead. Finally, with amazing persistence, Lily managed to heave and roll the giant watermelon all the way to her front yard.
Ở đâu đây? Ở dưới này đâu đây?
When Dad came out, the look
Hả?
on his face was one of
Trời
total
ơi,
surprise.
Con ăn về hả?
Looking
đây?
at his daughter,
Ừ.
covered in
Cái này
sweat,
còn dư nhiều ha.
and the huge prize next to
Dư
her,
đi hả?
Dad just
Ừ.
laughed. He understood
Con làm hết đi
immediately
nhé.
how hard she had worked to roll it all the way home. Dad shook his head, smiling, then bent down and proudly lifted the watermelon. Lily walked happily beside him, trotting into the house.
Bỏ mũ xuống. Đó, đi vào lấy cặp này nè. Con bỏ cặp xuống đi.
Once inside, Dad gently helped Lily take off her hat and her small backpack, placing them neatly in a corner.
Đây, dưa của con đây.
The heavy watermelon was placed on the kitchen counter.
Nha. Đây, bỏ đây ha. Đây.
The sound of the knife came down
Vị
decisively.
trí này này.
The watermelon was cut open, revealing the bright red, juicy center, a sign of a wonderful, refreshing treat.
Tay nào, có ngồi nào. Rồi nó bỏ kia đi. Đúng rồi. Bỏ đi con. Bỏ đi con. Giỏi lắm. Ui trời ơi. Đây nữa này. Đây nữa con. Đây nữa. Đây nữa con. Giỏi quá. Này bỏ đây ha. Bỏ kia đi con. Đấy. Bỏ đây ha.
Dad began to carefully cut the watermelon into small pieces.
Bỏ cái đi.
Lily sat obediently right next to him, excitedly picking up the cut pieces
Đây nữa.
and carefully putting them into a large bowl.
Đây nữa. Đấy. Đây nữa. Đây con.
Lily's tiny hands worked nonstop, very carefully and attentively.
Rồi, đây nữa. Đây con. Nó bỏ kia ra, nó bỏ kia. Đây, ăn đi con, ăn đi. Đây. Đây.
Seeing his daughter working so hard, Dad smiled, occasionally giving her a gentle, encouraging nod.
Nào, đưa tay vào lòng tay Ly nào.
After the bowl was full of watermelon, he gently used a towel to wipe the sticky juice from her little hands.
Đúng rồi, Ly nào. Rồi.
The two of them moved to the blender.
Đi qua đây nào. Ồ, đúng rồi, đây, đúng làm đúng không?
Dad got a
Đây,
small
đây, đây.
stool for
Rồi.
Lily to stand on so
Lấy
she
bỏ
could
đây đi.
reach.
Giỏi, nữa đi con.
Following
Đúng
Dad's
rồi.
instructions, Lily got back to work, grabbing handfuls of watermelon from the
đúng rồi
bowl
đấy.
and putting them into the blender.
Nữa nào, nữa nào.
She was so enthusiastic.
Ồ. Bỏ đây.
When it was almost full, Dad looked around for the lid. Right away, Lily spotted it and handed it to him. Dad put the lid on and signaled for Lily to help hold the blender steady.
Wow.
In just a moment, the first batch
Thêm
was
tí
done.
này. Nữa đã ha. Nè, bỏ vô đi con.
Dad turned it off,
Nữa
opened the
con.
lid, and Lily continued to add more watermelon.
Đúng rồi đấy. Nữa đi con. Nữa đi. Rồi. Thôi ha. Rồi ha. Đây rồi.
They repeated the process.
Rồi.
Dad put
Cầm
the
lại.
lid on,
Đúng
and
rồi,
Lily
cầm đây
held
ha.
the machine tightly.
Rồi.
Finally, the whole blender was filled with an appealing bright red juice.
Rồi. Nè. Cầm đấy, cầm đấy. Nó cầm lấy cái này, cầm đây. Rồi, đúng rồi.
Dad carefully poured the sweet result into a glass mug with a handle.
Wow. Đã. Rồi, để bà lấy cho ông nha. Đây cho bà nè.
He paused for a moment, went to get a straw, and put it in the glass.
Rồi, đi nào. Cho ông xem. Được không? Ừ. Rồi, cho bà tí nào. Kia cho bà nào. Rồi. Đây, bà đây.
Then he lovingly handed it to Lily. Lily happily took the glass of juice, a well-deserved reward for her long afternoon of hard work. She sat at the table and began to enjoy it. She took a long, delicious sip, the cool, sweet flavor filling her mouth. She must have been very thirsty. Lily nodded, continuing to drink until the whole glass was empty. After drinking it down in one go, instead of walking to the trash can, she lazily tossed the empty carton right onto the cold floor. That wasn't all. Lily spotted Dad's phone left on the table. That shiny gadget was way more interesting than boring old pencils. She picked it up and started messing around with it, but her clumsy hands slipped. Bang! The phone hit the floor. Lily panicked, her heart pounding, but she quickly brushed the fear aside. In just a few moments, the tidy room had turned into a total battlefield. Dad was home. Dad walked in and stood stunned at the scene. The fridge was open, the milk carton was on the floor, pens were everywhere, and worst of all, his phone was lying face down on the ground. Lily
Sao đi
jumped.
vậy hả?
She froze, her eyes wide with fear,
Ba mời đi ra ngoài một xíu.
sneaking a peek at
Em đi học
Dad's
bài mà
face.
sao làm nhà loạn xộn rồi hả Ly? Tủ còn chưa đóng này.
Dad's voice dropped low.
Uống sữa.
He didn't shout, but he sounded stern and disappointed.
Làm sao?
Lily shrank back. She knew she
Uống
was in
sữa thì bỏ
big
trong thùng rác
trouble.
chứ.
Dad started
Hey.
listing her
Điện
crimes.
thoại bể nữa kìa, rớt điện thoại kìa. Bố từng vứt lên thêm nhà kìa. Lê! Bà nhắc Ly mấy lần rồi.
Every question felt like a pinch to Lily's heart.
Phải ngoan chứ Ly. Uống sữa phải sạch sẽ chứ, phải bỏ thùng rác chứ. Tủ phải đóng lại chứ. Phải học bài chứ.
But the sentence that made her feel the most
Bác
guilty
buồn Ly
was,
nha.
I'm really sad about this, Lily. Lily wasn't playful anymore. She slumped down, head low, eyes looking down in shame. She realized her playfulness hadn't just made a mess, it had made Dad sad. Regret washed over her. She wished she could turn back time to pick up the milk carton and put the phone away.
Dad. Dad. Sorry.
Cái lỗi của mình rồi đúng không Ly?
Seeing Lily sitting there,
Lần sau là thế
silently,
đấy nha.
looking pitiful and
Nha,
about to
đây, bạn
cry,
thế này.
Dad's anger vanished. He knew she understood her mistake. He asked gently,
Không được vậy
"You
nha.
know what you did wrong, right,
Yeah.
Lily? Don't be naughty like that again, okay?" Lily looked up. Her eyes were still a bit fearful,
Xem nào.
but she saw the warmth returning to
Xem
Dad's
Ly dọn dẹp
face.
đâu nè.
He opened his arms and hugged her tight to comfort her. "It's okay. Daddy loves you."
Dọn dẹp đâu nè.
That hug felt incredibly warm, chasing away all her fear. Lily nuzzled into Dad's chest, as if trying to say sorry without words.
Đã ngủ ngon hả? Đã ngủ ghế ngon
After
hả?
being forgiven, Lily was much better behaved. She seemed to promise herself that she would be tidier from now on.
Dad.
Meanwhile, in the sunny kitchen, her dad was carefully peeling sweet purple potatoes to prepare a meal.
Ba làm khoai thế cho Ly ăn nhé.
In the living room nearby, Lily was busy with her next important job. She took a yellow sponge and diligently wiped the glass table until it sparkled, then moved on to cleaning the bright white floor. Suddenly, the sharp knife slipped, leaving a small cut on his finger.
Oh my god.
Lily heard his soft, ouch,
Dad.
and looked up. Her big round eyes widened when she saw the tiny drop of blood on her dad's hand. Dad, are you okay?
Ai da, đau quá
Her
kìa.
expression instantly changed from surprise
Trời
to
ơi.
deep worry.
Không may thôi. Nha. Không sao đâu ha.
Without waiting a second, Lily turned into a tiny little rescuer. She spun around and dashed down the long white hallway. Lily scrambled onto the bed. mission. Get the first aid kit. Then climbed from the bed onto a taller table where the white box with a red cross sat. Even though the box was big and heavy for her small frame, she managed to pull it down, wobbling a bit as she jumped off the table. With the medical equipment in hand, Lily scurried back to her dad.
Ủa, cái gì Ly? Trời.
She placed the box down and, with a skillful move, unlatched it and started searching. Her sharp eyes quickly spotted the antiseptic and a pack of bandages. She solemnly picked them up and handed them to her dad with a very serious expression.
Thôi để bà lấy cái băng gạc nhé, bà lấy băng gạc nhé. Đây ha. Lấy một cái băng gạc nhé. Đây. Rồi. Được rồi nè, thấy chưa? Đau lắm nha, đau lắm.
Seeing his little daughter, sweaty but so quick-witted and caring, Lily's dad was amazed. He completely forgot about the sting in his finger. His heart swelled with pride and endless love for his smart, kind-hearted little girl.
Đây, đi ngồi đây. Rồi bỏ đây với ba đi thôi, bỏ đây. Bỏ đây. Đúng rồi. Đó. Đây nữa. Bỏ đây thôi. Đây nữa. Không sao đâu không nhé. Không sao nhé. Giỏi lắm. Muốn làm thứ ba hả? Đây, bạn làm cho đi xem nhé. Này. Này cắt này, cần để tay đây, để tay đây. Đây. Đây, tay đây, đúng rồi. Đó, bỏ lại đây ba. Phải tay nhé, tay của ba đấy, được chưa? Đúng rồi. Đúng rồi. Đúng rồi, giỏi lắm, đúng rồi. Con bỏ vào đây đi, bỏ đây đi con. Đây này, đây này. Bỏ đây. Đây nữa, đây nữa. Đúng rồi, bỏ dưới không? Bỏ dưới không? Đúng rồi, đây nữa. Bỏ đây. Rồi, giỏi lắm. Đi đi. Đi đi. Vào đây đi ơi, vào đây. Đây đi. Bỏ vào đồi này, bỏ đây này. Đúng rồi, đây nữa. Đây không? Đúng rồi, bỏ đây. Đúng rồi, đây nữa. Đây nữa. Đây nữa. Đây nữa. Đây nữa. Giỏi. Đi nước đi con, đi nước đi. Bao vào đây. Đúng rồi, bao vào đây bỏ. Đó. Bỏ nước. Rồi, đi nữa ha, đi nữa ha. Đi này đắp lại đi, này đắp lại. Nước hả, nước hả? Cô Phú, pha nước hả? Được chưa? Cầm lấy này. Rồi, bỏ đây con, đây. Oh, shit. Rồi, Lily, để vung lại con. Nè. Thôi chờ tí nhá. Để vào lau cái nhà tí nhá. Không sao đi nhé, không sao đâu ha. Thôi rồi đi ra đây nào. Ông ngồi đi ha. Nè, con lau cái ba đi, lau đi. Con lau đây. Nè, lau cái ba đi, đúng rồi. Lau đây này. Lau đây nữa. Đúng rồi kia. Wow. Rồi đi nè. Ngồi đấy, ngồi đây. Ngồi đây nhé, ngồi đây nhé, được chưa? Để ba tí nhé. Không sao hết. Không sao đi nhé, không sao đâu ha. Không sao hết. Thôi con ngồi đây để bà lấy khoai tây ăn nhé. Ngồi đây, ngồi đây, ngồi đây. Ngồi đây con. Đứng im thôi. Đến đây. Rồi, ra đây nào. Đây là để đi nha, nóng lắm á. Đi nè. Đi xuống không? Ngồi yên không? Thôi ta đó. Đây là đây rồi. Ăn đi nhá. Đó. Xong rồi hả con? Xong rồi hả? Không sao đâu Ly nhé. Hết rồi. Cái này hết rồi ha. Bà dán là khách hết rồi ha. Giỏi quá. Qua đây bà ôm này. Qua đây. Đây. Đây, chào cô, chào cô. Đây. Giỏi lắm.
That afternoon, the sweltering summer heat made Lily feel very uncomfortable as she swayed in her hammock. It's so hot today, she sighed. A cool idea suddenly struck her. Lily hopped down from the hammock and ran straight to the bathroom. With all her might, she pushed the pink bathtub into place. To reach the faucet, she climbed onto a white paint bucket. And used her tiny feet to turn the handle. Water rushed into the tub. Once everything was ready, Lily joyfully jumped into the tub, happily splashing around in the cool, soapy water. "It's so cool," she chirped, enjoying her creation. Her happy giggles echoed through the bathroom, chasing away the summer heat. But she wasn't done yet. Lily grabbed the shampoo bottle and pushed the pump a few times to make a bubbly foam.
Đi ơi! Đi! Đi ơi!
Dad.
Ly ơi, dưa này. Ly ơi. Ly. Ly.
After she had her fun, her dad came in. He smiled lovingly, took a soft red towel, and gently dried his little girl.
Thơm đấy nhỉ? Ui giời, đưa con lau cho nào. Đưa chân đây con, đúng rồi, lau sạch chân nha. Rồi, nào cho ba tí nha. Đây. Rồi.
Then he carefully put a clean diaper on her and dressed her in a cute red and white plaid dress.
Đứng lên con, đứng lên. Đó. Đúng rồi. Đó. Đây, trên đây. Xuôi thẳng tay ra con. Đúng rồi. Và con mua dưa kìa, ha. Tí nữa thì ra làm dưa ăn nhá. Đứng lên nào, đứng thẳng lên. Rồi, nó sai cô khẩu cho. Đứng lên con, đứng lên. Đó, đúng rồi đấy. Rồi. Để ba mở cho Lily xem nhé. Đây. Nào, vui nào Lily. Đi vui đi. Đi mở đi. Đúng rồi.
When the box was opened, Lily had to scream with delight. Inside was a sparkling pink toy car, her dream gift. Unable to wait any longer, the two of them started to assemble it. Lily proved to be very skillful and enthusiastic. She single-handedly attached each wheel and helped her dad install the windshield and headlights. Hey! Finally, when the car was complete, Lily proudly sat in the driver's seat, ready for new adventures. The pink car quickly became Lily's indispensable companion. She drove it all over the yard, carrying her things and always remembering to wear her cute little helmet. Lily, let's go to the garden and find something to eat, Dad called out. Hearing about going out and finding food, Lily's eyes sparkled. She didn't go empty-handed. She quickly ran to get her familiar blue wagon. With a heroic posture, Lily pulled the wagon briskly beside Dad, feeling incredibly excited and ready for some real work.
Đứng lên. Rồi, tới rồi, đây.
Their first stop was a heavy-laden tomato patch. The bright red of the ripe tomatoes delighted Lily.
Đây con, mang đây chứ. Ui, vẫn nhanh thế. Đúng rồi đấy, giỏi lắm.
Under Dad's guidance, she eagerly got to work.
Bỏ đây con, đúng rồi. Kia nữa kìa. Bỏ đây nhá. Đúng rồi, giỏi lắm, kia kìa.
Her small hands nimbly picked each fruit and carefully placed them in the wagon.
Đúng rồi, đây. Đúng rồi, kia. Đúng rồi, mang qua đây con, mang qua đây. Con Lily, con không? Đúng rồi, kia nữa kìa. Đúng rồi, mang đây con. Mang đây. Giỏi quá kia. Đúng rồi. Đây, kia rơi kìa. Mang vào đây con. Rơi kìa. Này Ly này. Vào đây này. Kia. Mang đây Ly.
Soon the bottom of the wagon was filled with fresh red tomatoes.
Đây này. Này Ly này. Kìa, lên hái đi con. Lên đây Ly này. Lên đây này. Hái đi. À, hái ăn hả? Thứ hai chưa đây. Đúng rồi đấy. Giỏi lắm.
Hay nữa à? Giàu quá. Ông làm sư quá.
Kia Ly, kia.
Tao giết đâu đâu.
Đi đây Ly. Ly, bên kia. Kia. À, bỏ đây con. Giỏi quá.
Not stopping there, Lily continued pulling her wagon deeper into the garden behind Dad.
Vô đây Ly ơi, vô đây. Đây. Đi nào Ly, đi nào. Đi hay chưa nào. Đi nào Ly, đúng rồi. Đi thẳng đi con, đúng rồi. Đi, đúng rồi. đi con. Đúng rồi, mạnh lên. Đúng rồi. Rồi đi con kia đi.
Here, they found a lush green cucumber trellis.
Đó, con đi tìm đi.
The cucumbers were long and big. They looked delicious. Lily acted like a pro, snapping the stem of each cucumber. Even though the fruits were quite big for her hands, she persistently hugged each one and placed it neatly into her wagon.
Vậy thôi nhá. Hãy vậy thôi nhá. Được không? Đi về nhé.
The wagon was now full of tomatoes and cucumbers, a proud harvest.
Hãy đi thôi nhé. Đi về ăn nhé. Đi về làm đồ ăn cho Ly nhé.
Harvesting done, the duo headed back to prep their meal. Lily volunteered for an important mission, transporting the produce home. Dad led the way, and Lily pulled the wagon, trotting behind. However, in her excitement to keep up with Dad, Lily pulled the wagon a bit too fast over a bumpy patch of road. The wagon lost its balance and it tipped over sideways. Red tomatoes and green cucumbers rolled all over the ground.
Dad.
Dad was walking ahead and didn't see what happened. Lily stood alone facing the messy battlefield. But instead of crying or calling loudly for Dad, she remained extremely calm and independent. She stood the wagon upright by herself, then bent down to pick up every single cucumber and tomato, putting them back in. After fixing the problem, she gripped the handle tightly and used all her strength to pull the heavy wagon home to catch up with Dad.
Dad.
Rồi đi lại đi.
Back at the prep area, Lily seemed to forget all her tiredness.
Lấy cho ba cái sổ đi con.
When Dad asked, she immediately ran to get a basket to wash the cucumbers.
Nào vào đây nào. Vào đây con. Này. Được không? Các bạn làm cho Ly ăn nhé. Và cắt dưa leo cho Ly nhé.
As Dad showed off his skills, cutting the cucumbers into small pieces, Lily stood by, watching intently with eager eyes.
Đây nữa. Rồi, bỏ kia đi con. Bỏ kia đi con. Đây. Ở đây nha. Bỏ xuống, rồi đó. Đây Ly. Bỏ xuống, rồi đó. Bỏ kia con. Đây này, nha. Đây, cầm đây này. Đấy. Đi nào đi. Này, cầm cái ly to lớn nha. Cái ghế ngồi đi con.
Finally, the cucumber feast began. Lily climbed onto her chair and sat properly, just like a grown-up. She picked up a piece of cucumber and enjoyed it deliciously. The crunchy sound was fun to hear. Dad told Lily that clean, homegrown cucumbers are tasty and healthy even with the skin on, and Lily nodded in agreement. The garden trip ended with the image of Lily eating happily, her tummy full after a hard-working session filled with laughter and a great lesson in independence.
Ngon Ly. À, cái đấy hả? Có cái bò à? Bò ngon mà.
One sunny morning, sunshine filled the yard.
Đi mua đồ nhé, chưa?
Before leaving for work, Dad patted Lily's head and reminded her carefully, I have to go to work now. Be good, Lily. Just sit and watch TV and wait for me. Don't run around, okay? Lily nodded eagerly, looking very obedient. However, as soon as the sound of Dad's bike faded away, the house became strangely quiet. Lily sat on the sofa, flipping through channels, but finding nothing interesting. Boredom quickly set in. The clever little monkey looked out the window, her eyes lighting up. Why sit here all bored? Outside is much more fun, Lily thought, turning off the TV and running out to the garden with her cart. Dad's garden was lush and green.
Wow.
Lily remembered Dad often dug up sweet potatoes in the corner, so she ran there excitedly. She used her small hands to dig, hoping for a yummy snack. But, oh no, she dug and dug, but found nothing. Lily exclaimed in disappointment, "Oh no, there's nothing at all!" Not giving up, Lily looked at the patch next to it, where green leaves were growing tall. It was the carrot patch!
Wow.
Lily grabbed the stems and pulled with all her might. Pop! A huge red carrot came up. Lily cheered happily. She continued harvesting and soon had a cart full of fresh carrots. Lily smiled broadly, thinking, "Dad will be so proud of me. I'm such a good farmer." Dragging her loot on the cart, Lily decided to take them to the grocery store down the street.
Vào đi nhá.
The shop owner smiled as soon as she saw this special customer.
Mua cái gì? Đi dựa đi. Dựa đi. Đi muốn đổi cái này lấy bánh hả?
Lily put the carrots on the counter and pointed at the delicious dumplings on display.
Rồi, nó muốn đổi hả? Đổi bánh lấy đồ hả? Đi bánh,
Ok.
Rồi, đổi lấy bánh hả? Đi lấy bánh này nhá. Hôm nay chỉ đổi được một cái bánh này thôi, nghe chưa? Này.
With such big, beautiful carrots, Lily opened her arms wide, signaling she wanted to trade for a lot of dumplings.
Ly, cái đấy chỉ được đổi được một cái thôi nhá, Ly.
However, the owner
Đổi
shook
một
her
cái
head
thôi chưa?
and explained
Rồi, mang
gently,
lại đây.
"Lily, your carrots are delicious, but this is only enough to trade for one pack of dumplings." Although a bit regretful that she didn't get as many as she hoped, Lily still nodded happily.
Rồi, bye bye Ly nhá. Bye nào. Bye Ly.
She took the pack of dumplings, holding it like a treasure, and skipped all the way home.
Đi đâu về này? Bọn xe đây kìa. Ly ơi. Ồ, làm gì Ly?
When Dad got home, he looked at Lily, then at the dumplings on the table with surprise.
Nè, bao cái nồi nè.
"Where did you get these yummy dumplings, Lily?"
Bao bánh cho Ly nha.
Lily proudly showed off her carrot trading achievement.
Bao đây nè. Đây nè. Đây nè. Đây nè con. Trùng hợp nha. Ở đâu ra đây? Hả? Con mua này đâu đây? Rồi, chào bà đi. Chào bà đi nha.
Dad laughed out loud and praised his daughter's resourcefulness. He then took out a brand new box. "I just bought a new electric steamer too. It's very convenient." Let's try it out together.
Đây mình sẽ đây nha. Đúng rồi. Rồi. Đúng rồi nha. Chưa ăn được đâu, cái này sống
In the
nha.
cozy kitchen,
Hấp lại cho Ly
Dad
nha.
showed Lily how to use the steamer.
Đây, bỏ đây ha.
Lily acted very professional.
Đây, cầm đây này.
She carefully
Cầm đây.
arranged the round dumplings on the tray
Đây, cầm
while
đây
Dad
ha.
plugged it
Đúng
in.
rồi, giỏi lắm.
The teamwork made the kitchen
Đi nha.
full of joy.
Đây, cầm bên này này. Đây, bỏ đây. Đúng rồi, thơm không? Đậy nắp lên. Đó. Mình bật nút nha. Đó là được ha. Đúng rồi. Đúng rồi. Thôi thì chờ nhé. Ha. Cái này lạnh nhé. Ngồi đây. Chờ xíu ha.
Just 5 minutes later, steam
rồi
started
nha.
rising, carrying the delicious smell of dumplings through the room.
Wow.
Dad opened the lid, revealing hot,
Hey, how's
fluffy
ya?
buns. Careful,
thơm quá
it's
ha.
hot. Dad warned kindly, as Lily looked eager to taste.
Mỗi người một cái nha. Nha. Mỗi người một cái nha. Để mà thổi đi Ly nha. Đúng rồi. Đây. Từ nha.
They brought the dumplings to the table.
Rồi.
Lily held a hot bun, blew on it, and took a bite.
Ăn ngon quá ha. Cho ba một cái nha.
The soft bun and tasty filling made her nod in approval, her eyes shining with gratitude for Dad. The lunch was simple, but it was the best meal because
Ngon
it
nè.
was made from Lily's hard work and Dad's love.
Bánh ngon lắm. Ngon quá ha. Mình làm đồ ăn lát ăn cơm nhá. Đây, ngồi đây. Bà lấy rổ, ngồi bà lấy rổ nhá.
They started with a basket of fresh green beans.
Để đầu vào đây các con.
Dad picked one up and showed her slowly.
Đây.
Watch me, Lily. Hold it like this and snap.
Rồi.
Lily watched Dad's every move. She used her tiny hands to pick up a bean and copied him exactly.
Nó bẻ đi. Bẻ. Bẻ chứ. Nè. 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 Đúng rồi.
Snap!
Không
The
phải.
bean broke cleanly.
Nha.
Lily was very skillful and
Làm
didn't
bà hấp
crush
đậu
the
từ
bean
ly
at
ăn nhé,
all.
chưa? Ừ. Bẻ đi, bẻ đi. Bẻ đi chưa? Ừ.
Seeing her do well, Dad patted her head and praised her. Good job, Lily.
Nè, cánh bẻ
You're
đây.
doing it right.
Bẻ. Đúng rồi, giỏi lắm. Nè cánh bẻ đi. Bẻ. Đúng rồi, giỏi lắm. Đây.
Dad's praise
Bẻ.
made Lily work even harder, filling the
Để ý lại đi
basket in
nha.
no time.
Nè, đi vào này. Đây đi. Ừ. Ở đây này. Đúng rồi. Trông hay quá đi ạ. Ừ. Ừ. Ôi sẽ bỏ đây. Bỏ đây chứ. Bỏ đây. Đúng rồi. Gạt rớt cái này ra cái giấy bẻ. Ăn nữa không? Đầy đủ chưa? Ừ. Đầy đủ chưa? Ăn nữa không? Để vào đây thêm nhé. Rồi. Đây con. Giỏi lắm. Cảm ơn Ly nhé. Đây. Đây luôn. Này của con này. Không, bẻ đi con. Đúng rồi. Đây này. Dây này. Dây này. Xem mấy cái này dài, cái này bẻ đi. Nó bẻ cái này ra. Nó bẻ ra. Cái này dài quá. Đây này. Bẻ đi. Bẻ ra.
Next was Lily's favorite, carrots. When she saw Dad bring out the bright orange carrots, her eyes lit up.
Này cà rốt nha. Cái đoạn nào? Nè, ba bộ này. Cái nào? Cái đó hả? Rồi, cái đó đó. Đây hả? Cắt về lát hấp ăn cho nó ngon nhé. Nè, ngon không? Bỏ đây này. Ra cái này đi. Ăn đi. Bỏ lên đây không? Bỏ xuống. Đúng rồi. Đây nữa. Đây nữa. Đây nữa. Đúng rồi. Con ăn thêm bí không? Thêm bí không? Ăn bí nhé.
Then came the pumpkin. Dad gently reminded her,
Bí nhé.
"Be careful with this part, Lily."
Đừng cái đây nhé. Này cái vỏ con bỏ đây nhé.
Lily proved to be
Này,
very
này.
tidy. She
Bỏ cái này.
quickly picked up all the
đúng rồi,
peels and put them in the trash without needing a second reminder.
Đúng rồi đấy. Đúng rồi, con bỏ kia đi. Đây này. Đây đi. Đây đi. Bỏ kia đi con. Đây đi con. Đây nữa. Đây này. Con bỏ kia. Cái bí này mình hấp lên nhé. này bỏ đây ha. Cái này con bỏ đây nhé. Đúng rồi đấy. Đây. Con bỏ cái đi. Bỏ. Bỏ đi, bỏ đây đấy, bỏ đây, đây, đây này, đúng rồi, đây nữa, đây này, được, đây ha, rồi, này, đi này, được không? Dạ vâng. Ngồi đây, ngồi đây. Ngồi đây nhé.
Prep work was done, and the steamer started cooking.
Ui trời, ngon quá, nè, ngon quá nhỉ, đi nè, nè, đã không? Nè, để đây điểm mình thấp nha.
While waiting for the food, Dad said, "Now, let's take a little break." They moved to the living room. Lily hopped onto the sofa, sitting affectionately next to Dad. Dad turned on the TV.
Ngon nấu ngon không? Đấy, nấu ăn đấy. Đấy, ngồi đây, ngồi đây.
Surprise! The screen was playing a video of Lily herself. The little monkey tilted her head, eyes wide, looking at herself on TV with a mix of curiosity and amusement, as if saying, "Hey, why am I inside that box?"
Ăn cơm nhé, ngồi đây xem phim nhé.
When the smell of steamed vegetables filled the house, Dad called out, "It's lunchtime, Lily!"
Đi qua đây đi, qua đây không? Ở đây. Ngồi xuống đây con. Rồi, ngồi yên
The
cho đi.
table was set, and just as the delicious aroma filled the kitchen, they welcomed a special surprise guest, Lily's aunt. Her arrival made the atmosphere even more lively and happy.
Chưa ạ? Ngồi đây con. Bỏ chân đây. Bỏ chân xuống. Đó. Đi cơm nè. Đi cơm ăn đi con.
The family gathered around the lunch tray.
Cơm đi con.
On the plate were the hot vegetables Lily helped prepare.
Ăn đâu này?
Sweet green beans, creamy pumpkin, and tasty
Ăn
carrots.
cơm trước à?
Cơm đi Lily.
Đây hả? Thấp quá hả? Cái bàn thấp quá hả? Sao để cao lên tí cho con ngồi nhá.
Encouraged by Dad to eat plenty of veggies to be healthy, and under Auntie's loving gaze, Lily ate with gusto, enjoying the results of her hard work. Noticing Lily was struggling a bit, Dad realized the plate was too low for her. He gently raised the plate so Lily could reach the food easily. Lunch today was not only delicious, but filled with the happy laughter of family. While Lily was still enjoying her watermelon, her dad changed into his simple work clothes, slung his familiar hoe over his shoulder, and began his usual work. The sound of the hoe striking the ground was steady, turning over clumps of moist, soft earth, promising a good season of green vegetables for his little girl. Meanwhile, in a corner of the yard, little Lily, in a bright yellow shirt, her hands gripping the wooden fence, her big, round eyes fixed on her dad's sturdy back. In her eyes, her dad was immense, so strong. Suddenly, an idea sparked in her mind. Dad is working so hard, I have to do something for him. So she ran quickly back into the house. Lily went to her small desk, where her bag and helmet from the morning still lay. She carefully slung the bag over her shoulder, then climbed onto a cabinet to reach her blue helmet. She tried to put it on her head, looking quite comical. Her vehicle for the trip was a lovely pink toy car. She excitedly climbed in, gripping the steering wheel. Lily fumbled with all the buttons on the dashboard, but the car remained still. She looked around in confusion, not understanding why her adventure couldn't begin. A little disappointed, Lily quickly came up with a new plan. She climbed out of the car, went back to the cabinet, and swapped the helmet for her straw hat. She now looked like a real tiny farmer. With her straw hat and bag, she decided to undertake a more important mission: to buy water for her hardworking dad in the garden. She toddled down the village path to the small stall at the end of the lane.
Chào Ly nha. Mua gì Ly? Con mua gì con lựa đi nha. Rồi, lựa đi. Miếng này hả? Rồi, tiền đây cho ba nha. Giỏi lắm.
She picked up a bottle of water, then solemnly held out her money to pay the shopkeeper before quickly carrying the water back to her dad. Lily held the bottle, toddling along the dirt path, passing through her secret banana forest to get back to the garden. The water bottle in her hand felt like a precious treasure. Reaching her dad, she offered him the water, then stood on her tiptoes, taking his hat to wipe the beads of sweat from his forehead.
Đi đâu đây?
Her dad's heart melted at this small yet deeply loving gesture.
Đâu, xem nào. Đây, tôi mở cho. Cho vào đôi mát nhá, nắng quá. Nắng không? Con mở nhé, mở đi con. Mở đi. Đây. Đây ha.
He didn't drink right away, but opened the bottle and carefully held it to Lily's lips so she could drink first.
Nữa không? Nữa không? Rồi, để bà uống nhé, đứng yên con.
Under the afternoon sun, the two shared the cool, refreshing water. The sweetness of the water seemed to blend with the sweetness of their father-daughter bond, simple yet sacred. After their rest, the dad swept his little daughter up into his arms. Together, they walked through the banana garden, passed through the familiar gate, and returned home.
Đưa chị cho Ly này ha. Mình để đi Ly thu hoạch chuối chưa?
The dad's workday ended with that sweet image, an image of boundless love, of peaceful and priceless moments that would forever remain in the memories of them both. One quiet afternoon, in their familiar home, Lily was sitting neatly in her favorite yellow beanbag chair. She leaned against her dad as they watched films of their own past adventures on TV. Lily watched the screen intently, occasionally looking up at her dad with eyes full of trust and love. Suddenly, her dad stood up, patting Lily's head and saying, "Be a good girl, Lily. I'm just going to do your laundry." As soon as her dad was out of sight, the mischievous little girl sprang up. An idea sparked in her mind. She toddled over to the small yellow refrigerator, stood on her tiptoes to open the door, and pulled out a bright red apple, almost as big as herself. She happily hugged her prize, returned to her beanbag chair, and began to enjoy her snack. After finishing the apple, Lily went to the table and got a yogurt.
Yummy.
She fumbled to open the lid and then ate it clumsily with a spoon, spilling yogurt all over the table and her pretty t-shirt.
Ủa, Lily, con làm gì vậy? Đói bụng à?
When her dad returned and saw his little girl's battlefield, he didn't scold her at all. He just gently pointed at the mess, and Lily seemed to understand, looking apologetic.
Chờ tí bà lên bà làm cho ăn chứ hả? Nè, nè, áo này bà mới giặt xong đấy nhỉ, thấy không? Thấy không? Thấy chưa? Bẩn hết rồi đấy kìa. Rồi táo mà ăn được vứt kìa kìa. Ăn cái gì vậy? Ăn phải cẩn thận chứ, sạch sẽ chứ. Thấy chưa? Và bình thường nhá, không được như vậy nghe chưa? Này, này. Thôi đừng ăn cái đó nữa. Đưa bà xúc cho ăn. Đây đây, bà xích cái đây. Đây. Đó. Ăn đi rồi bà thay đồ rồi giặt quần áo thấy chưa? Giặt đi cho Ly luôn nhá. Đúng rồi. Sao kêu bà nhé. Rồi con quay lấy giấy đi. Đi quay lấy giấy đi. Kìa. Đúng rồi, qua đây nào.
Her dad gave her a paper towel and patiently showed her how to clean the table. Lily obediently followed his lead, wiping up the yogurt spills and then carrying the dirty paper to the trash can to throw it away.
Nốt nha. Ghê quá. Thấy chưa? Ghê quá. Rửa hết cái áo rồi kìa. Rồi, hết rồi. Rồi, lấy thêm giấy đi, lấy thêm giấy ba lông miệng nhá. Lấy thêm giấy đi.
Seeing that his daughter knew how to admit her mistake and fix it, her dad lovingly wiped her hands and mouth, then lifted her up to change her dirty shirt.
Rồi, thôi không ăn nữa, không ăn nữa nhé. Biết là đi thích rồi ha. Này, đây con bỏ thùng rác đi, Rồi, qua đây. Đây, đi bật cởi áo này. Ôi giời, cởi ra. Đây cho ba. Rồi. Để đây mà giặt luôn nhé. Này, đi ra bỏ cái táo thùng rác không? Thùng rác đi. Bỏ thùng rác đi con. Không ăn nữa, bỏ thùng rác đi. Đúng rồi. Ồ, giỏi lắm. Thôi đi đây nè, đi đây vào.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Đi đâu rồi? Các bạn vào đây nhé. Đi ra đấy.
Dad!
Ủa? Ui. Sao vệ sinh hả? Ồ, xong chưa? Ừ. Để con xả nước cho na. Ui dồi ôi, tiếp. Đau bụng hả? Ồ, đó đây. Ồ, cả. Đặt thế. Để thay đổi nha. Sao vậy? Sao rồi, đau bụng hả? Ồ, sao vậy? Đau bụng hả con? Ừ. Con vào đây xem nào. Vào đây xem nhá. Ừ. Đây. Con nằm đây ha. Rồi lấy cho con cái gối nhá. Ừ. Chờ bà tí nhá, để cho đi cái gối. Ừ. Sao rồi, đau bụng hả? Trời. Nghe tiếng bụng sôi luôn đấy.
as evening
Hả?
fell,
Ừ. Nằm đây.
sensing his daughter might not be feeling well,
Ừ. Đau bụng hả?
Dad laid Lily down gently on the bed.
Ừ. Thương quá hả? Thương rồi, nằm đây nghỉ nhá. Ha. Nằm đây nghỉ ngơi ha. Ồ. Ồ. Ồ, đau bụng hả? Đau nhiều không? Đau nhiều không? Ừ, có đau nhiều không? Ừ. Chú sẽ ăn nhiều thế đấy. Ừ, bụng căng này, ăn nhiều thế con. Ừ. Ăn nhiều thế. Ừ. Sao ăn nhiều quá vậy? Ừ. Ăn ít thôi, ăn vừa đủ thôi ha. Chứ ăn nhiều quá đầy bụng đau bụng nhá. 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 Ở đây hả? Ừ. Đây nhá. Đây đi mua thuốc cho Ly nhá. Được không? Mua thuốc cho Ly nhá. Ừ. Ừ. Nha. Ừ. 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 Mua thuốc cho con nhá. Ừ, con nằm đây ha. Hả? Rồi, để ba chỉnh ra, để ba chỉnh nha. Rồi. Con nằm nghỉ ha. Con nằm ngủ ha. Nằm nghỉ để ba mua thuốc cho Ly nhé. Nhé. Ừ. Hoàn ha. Con nằm đây ba đi mua thuốc cho Ly nhé.
He put on his jacket and helmet and hurried out on his old motorbike. He drove to a nearby pharmacy and bought a few more packs of vitamins for his little girl.
Dad!
When he returned home, he went straight to the bedroom.
Chào bà tí
Lily
nhé.
was still lying obediently on the bed, her big round eyes watching him. He sat down softly.
Được không? Bụng no có mà thấy chưa này, đau bụng thấy chưa, đau này không?
Opened another tube of vitamins.
Uống cái này giúp tiêu hóa con khỏe hơn nhé, không? Giỏi quá hả? Sợ tí nha. Chắc mệt đúng không? Chắc mệt đúng không? Đây. Uống đi con. Cố lên nhé.
And
Đấy.
patiently fed it to Lily, spoonful by spoonful.
Đúng rồi, con giỏi lắm, đúng rồi, cố gắng uống ha, nó khó uống tí thôi ha. Nào, uống lên nào. Nào, giỏi đi. Nào. Sao. Đấy. Nào, cố lên nào. Một xíu thôi. Xíu thôi ha, một xíu thôi. Uầy. Xíu thôi ha. Nào. Cố lên, xíu thôi con. Sao, cố uống nhá, thấy chưa? Này, ba thử nha. Ngon lắm, thật. Ngon thật. Nè, thử đi. Âm nè. Uống hết ba chở đi chơi nhá. Uống hết mai ba chở đi chơi ha. Đấy, đi chơi là uống này. Đi chơi là uống này. Cố lên ạ. Đi chơi là uống nha. Đi chơi ha. Mai chở đi chơi nhá. Mai ba chở đi cà phê ha. Nha. Đây tiếp ha, làm xíu thôi nha.
Every gesture he made was filled with care and concern.
Rồi. Đây uống xíu rồi mai ba chở đi cà phê nhá. Rồi giỏi nè. Nào, tiếp nào, xíu nữa thôi. Đấy, xíu nữa thôi mai chở đi cà phê nè. Giỏi nè. Nè. Thôi hả. Nè. Nè, giỏi mai chở cà phê nhá. Nè. Đấy, ba uống hết này. Ngoan nhá. Nè, tiếp ha. Xíu nữa thôi ha. Mai chở cà phê nhá. Nào. Xíu thôi. Cố lên nào. Đúng rồi, ngoan nè. Mai chở cà phê. Mai ba chở đi uống cà phê ha. Cho con uống sữa trái cây nhá. Được không? Nè, tí nữa thôi, uống xíu nữa thôi. Một xíu ha. Xíu thôi. Giỏi này. Đấy, thấy chưa? Đấy, tí nữa thôi. Xíu nữa thôi. Xíu thôi. Thôi rồi. Thế thôi ha.
After making sure she had finished her medicine,
Mai khỏe ba
he
chở.
caressed her, stroking her head to comfort her.
Liêu chị uống rồi kìa, trời ơi, khó quá. Uống có xíu à? Thôi nghỉ đi ha.
Dad gently laid her head on a soft pillow and covered her with a pink fleece blanket. He leaned down and placed a loving goodnight kiss on his little daughter's forehead. Lily's day ended in the warm and gentle care of her dad. In a lush green backyard, under the gentle morning sun, Lily was enjoying a peaceful morning. Dressed in a cute outfit, she sat perched on a wooden swing, her tiny feet dangling and swaying to the rhythm as she chirped cheerful melodies. Nearby, her best friend, a black pig named Sam, was lazily basking in the sun.
Hi.
Seeing his friend, Lily gently slid off the swing and ran over to play, her clear laughter echoing throughout the garden. In a corner of the garden, Lily's dad was diligently tending to the vegetable patches. The back of his shirt was soaked with sweat, which rolled down his forehead. Engrossed in her game, Lily still remembered to glance over at her dad from time to time. Then, the mischievous little monkey climbed onto Sam's back, like a tiny knight preparing for her own adventure.
Ly ơi, Ly ơi.
But Lily's joy
Ôi,
didn't
Thanh
last
nha.
long. As she noticed her dad's face growing more and more tired, a sense of worry began to creep into her little heart.
Này nắng quá trời.
Dad!
Her dad had to go inside to rest from exhaustion. Seeing her dad
Oh my
lying in bed,
gosh.
Lily rushed in, her round eyes
Dad.
shining with concern. The little monkey climbed onto the bed and used her tiny hands to clumsily
Lily.
massage her dad, a small gesture that held all her love
Ba làm gì
and
tí
most
ha?
sincere care.
Tiến qua kiếm cho Julian nha.
Huh?
Her anxiety growing, Lily ran to get the thermometer.
Uh-oh.
The number 38.1 you could see on the screen made Lily's heart sink. Dad had a high fever. The little monkey immediately remembered the magical fever-reducing patch her dad always used. She hurried to the first aid box, rummaged through everything, but to her despair, there wasn't a single one left.
Oh.
Panicked at not finding a fever patch, an idea flashed in Lily's mind. She needed money to buy one. Without hesitation, the little monkey rushed outside, found her dear pig friend, and nimbly climbed onto his back, urging her friend toward another part of the house.
Go!
There, Lily went to her toy safe, skillfully entered the code, and opened the door.
Uh-oh.
But disappointment struck. It was completely empty. Saddened, Lily went to her small study table and sat dejectedly. The image of her exhausted, feverish dad filled her young mind. In that moment, a momentous decision was made. Lily looked at her toy tablet, her most beloved possession, then resolutely picked it up and ran off, determined to sell it for money to buy medicine for her dad. Without a second thought, Lily ran outside, clutching the tablet. She sat for a long time in a familiar spot, hoping someone would buy her toy, but people just passed by indifferently.
Hi. Oh. Oh.
With a burning determination, Lily took the tablet to a woman she knew.
Bạn muốn bán thứ này ư?
Little monkey's pleading eyes and decisive action touched the
Bạn
woman's
chắc
heart.
của mình chứ? Thôi, được rồi. Nó cũng được đấy.
She gently took the toy and gave Lily just enough money.
Đây này, tiền của bạn đây. Cảm ơn nhé.
Clutching the precious coins in her hand, Lily wasted no time, immediately jumping onto her loyal pig's back and hurrying to the store to buy the fever patch.
Linh mua cái gì? Linh mua gì hả? Rồi đây, quà của Linh nè. Rồi, bye Linh nha.
Bye bye.
The journey back seemed shorter, fueled by Lily's anticipation. The little monkey quickly rode the pig right up to her dad's bedside.
Dad.
Her dad, delirious from the fever,
Oh.
half opened his eyes to see his little child returning with the miracle in her hand.
Trời ơi, sao biết là mua cái này Linh? Sao biết mua hay à? Đây bà thấy ha.
He managed to sit up slightly, took the patch from Lily, tore open the package himself, and placed it on his own hot forehead.
Thấy không? Bà hay gắn cái ly đấy. Thấy không? Nè. Đây này.
The coolness from the patch seemed to soothe the fever, but the warmth of Lily's love was the most precious medicine of all. Moved by his daughter's heart, her dad opened his arms and pulled Lily into a hug. And just like that, the two of them fell asleep. A peaceful and unusually warm sleep.
Ốm rồi đấy. Cảm ơn Ly nhá. Anh nghỉ tí ha. Nghỉ tí ha. Tí lấy sữa cho Ly uống ha. Được không?
With a fork as her weapon, Lily sat at the table and tried to open it. However, the thick, slippery skin gave her trouble. After struggling for a moment, Lily decided to use brute force. She threw the dragon fruit hard onto the floor, smashing it open and splattering pink juice everywhere. Unfazed by the mess she'd made, Lily happily used her fork to scoop out and eat the sweet fruit. When she finished eating, Perhaps feeling a little guilty about the mess, Lily started to clean up. She picked up the broken pieces of the dragon fruit peel, gathered them together, and put them in a small basket. After finishing her job, Lily ran to her soft cushion, lay down, and rolled back and forth, her face adorably smeared with pink dragon fruit stains. Sleepiness quickly set in after such a long day. Lily lay quietly on her cushion, her eyes getting heavy before slowly closing. She fell into a deep sleep, ending a long day filled with mischievous games and sweet moments with her beloved dad. Dad led Lily to a small wooden table and kindly set out some pre-cut grapes on a plate for her. Lily sat nicely on her chair, holding a small fork, and carefully speared each piece of grape, enjoying her snack. Meanwhile, maybe from being out in the sun, Dad felt a bit tired. He walked over to the sofa and lay down to rest. After finishing her snack, Lily saw her dad lying down, tired. She immediately ran to his side, climbed up onto his chest, pressed her cheek against his, and gave him sweet kisses, as if trying to comfort him.
Thương ba hả? Thương nha. Nha.
Seeing he still seemed tired, Lily suddenly had an idea. She quickly ran back to the fridge, opened the door, grabbed a bottle of cold water, and brought it to him. Dad was very surprised and touched by his little daughter's thoughtful gesture. He sat up, took the water bottle, and smiled, thanking Lily.
Cảm ơn Ly nhé. Để ba tự mở cho nhé. Con mở luôn hả? Tôi để ba tự mở cho nhé. Cảm ơn Ly nhé. Nè. Con ngồi đây, con ngồi đây. Ngồi xuống đi, con ngồi đây.
After taking a drink and feeling better, Dad wrapped his arms tightly around Lily.
Đi giỏi nhỉ? Con lấy nước ở đâu đấy? Lấy nước ở đâu đấy? Không phải đâu. Con nghỉ tí nhé. Nào, đi.
He gently settled her on his chest, and the two of them drifted off into a peaceful, warm afternoon nap together. One peaceful morning, in their sunny home, Lily, an adorable baby monkey with pinkish fur, was enjoying a sweet moment with her dad.
Phá giờ luôn đi nhỉ?
He gently held her in his lap, carefully and tenderly trimming each of her tiny fingernails.
Có một chút đẹp ở đấy. Nè, rửa nha. Đánh nè cho nó sạch nha.
Lily sat obediently in his warm embrace, her trusting eyes looking around as she soaked in the feeling of being safe and cared for.
Thấy chưa? Thôi đi học bài nhé.
When he finished, Dad smiled and patted his little daughter's head.
Đi nấu đồ ăn cho Ly ăn nhé.
As if she knew the routine, Lily hopped down from his lap and scampered over to her small study table.
Đi nha. Đi kìa.
She climbed onto her chair and began flipping through the pages of a book, pretending to study hard. With a pencil in hand, Lily scribbled aimlessly in her notebook, occasionally looking up as if searching for something more exciting. In the background, Lily's dad was busy in the kitchen doing housework. Lily peeked over at him every now and then before looking back at her notebook.
Viết đi con, viết bài đi nhé. Được chưa? Đúng rồi, viết bài đi.
Suddenly, a little
Lily,
rumble
đau bụng
rumble
hả?
came from
Con bỏ
Lily's
bút xuống đấy.
tummy. Hearing it,
Rồi, lại
Dad
xuống
turned
đi.
and said,
Lại tủ đi xuống đi con.
"Is Lily's tummy hungry? Why don't you go to the fridge and get yourself some milk?" She left her desk and walked straight to the bright yellow refrigerator. With her small hands, Lily cleverly opened the door and pulled out a carton of fresh milk. She brought it back to her desk, carefully stuck a straw in, and started to drink.
Lily, ngủ ngon nhé. Xong nhớ bài đi con.
Her eyes sparkling with delight. While sipping her milk, Lily looked over at her dad, who had now started doing the laundry, as if to confirm he was still occupied. When she finished, Lily responsibly threw the empty carton in the trash, pretending to be a very neat little girl. Back at her desk, Lily picked up her pencil, but it was clear her focus was gone. Her mischievous eyes darted around the room, as if looking for an escape route. She pretended to draw in her notebook, but her mind was already on adventures outside.
Sao? Tốt rồi nhé. Bài đi nhé. Thấy chưa? Ngoan chưa?
When her dad walked past with a basket of clothes and went into the bathroom, Lily knew she had the perfect chance to carry out her plan. She stared at her book for another moment, then suddenly stood up, looking very determined. Lily tiptoed to the front door, trying to open it. She peeked out, her eyes wide with curiosity and a desire to explore the world outside. After making sure her dad was still busy, Lily made her move. Lily found a cute straw hat. She put it on her head, looking like a tiny farmer. She She quickly slipped out the door and confidently walked out the gate. Immediately, Lily ran across the green grass and straight to the goat pen, where her best friend was waiting. With her usual agility, Lily skillfully climbed onto the goat's back and started to ride. She happily rode the goat all around the garden. While back in the house, her dad was completely unaware of his mischievous daughter's great escape. During her ride, Lily spotted a ripe yellow watermelon lying on the ground. She immediately climbed off the goat, managed to pick up the watermelon, and eagerly shared it with her four-legged friend. The two of them enjoyed the tasty snack together, and Lily gently petted her goat friend. A little while later, Lily's dad finished the laundry and returned to the room, only to find her desk empty. He looked around, puzzled.
Lily. Lily.
Worried, he rushed into the garden, calling Lily's name and searching everywhere.
Lily. Tao mua ly ở đây.
Eventually, he found Lily's straw hat lying next to the goat's feeding trough, the only clue to her adventure. He looked around, calling her name again, but got no answer.
Lily.
Dad had no idea that just a few feet away, hidden in a thick bush, his little monkey was hiding,
Đi đâu rồi?
peeking out at him with a proud look on her face, pleased with her successful escape.
Lily. Ăn gì đây? Ăn dưa à? Hả? Ăn dưa à? Dưa thơm quá nhỉ?
With a cute little backpack on her back and a wide-brimmed hat, Lily looked just like a diligent schoolgirl. But just as she passed through the gate, a strange feeling washed over her. Lily instinctively glanced back at the empty road, feeling as if someone was watching her from a distance. I must be overthinking it, Lily muttered to herself. She shook her little head, chasing away the unsettling feeling, and quickly ran inside. Leaving the strange feeling behind, Lily entered the house and immediately showed her tidiness. She carefully took off her backpack and hat, placing them on a cabinet before running to the living room. It was time to relax. Lily flopped onto the soft armchair, grabbed the remote, and turned on her favorite cartoon channel. Her kind dad had already prepared a plate of juicy red apples. Lily happily sat at the table, picked up a fork, and enjoyed each crisp, sweet slice. But a moment later, Lily suddenly felt her stomach churn uncomfortably. Perhaps the apple was a bit cold. She winced and hurried to the restroom to relieve herself. It was while Lily was in the restroom that a strange figure stealthily snuck into the house. The very same person who had been watching her earlier. When Lily came out, her small heart felt like it would leap out of her chest. A complete stranger was brazenly rummaging through the cabinet in the living room. Terrified, Lily quickly hid behind a wall, peeking out with bated breath. The thief found nothing of value and headed straight for her dad's bedroom. He flung the door open and began scanning the room. Seeing this, the initial fear in Lily's heart began to fade. In its place, anger and a powerful thought ignited in her mind. This is my home. I can't let a bad guy destroy it. With her courage surging, Lily no longer hesitated. She looked around, grabbed a nearby red plastic back scratcher to use as a weapon. With a determined cry, Lily charged into the bedroom, raised the back scratcher high, and relentlessly attacked the thief. Ambushed by a small but fierce homeowner, the thief panicked, screamed, and fled for his life. The brave Lily chased him all the way to the door, making sure the danger was truly gone. After the thief had vanished, her burst of courage faded, and Lily felt her whole body ache with exhaustion. She slowly walked back inside, climbed onto the soft bed, and sat down, still panting from the recent fight.
Sao rồi đây?
Just then, her dad walked in, saw the scene, and understood everything.
Hả? À. À. Em có trộm hả? Lần sau
He
đi có
gathered the
đi
little
nhé.
monkey in his arms,
Thấy chưa?
gently stroking her
Ôi, cây có cái gì
small
này?
back.
Này, cắt đi nhé, cắt
His
đi nhé.
eyes were filled not only with relief, but also with immense pride and love for his brave little bodyguard. The gentle dawn cast a tranquil glow upon the river, dyeing the water's surface a shimmering gold. In that fresh and serene space, a father and daughter began their day with familiar exercises.
Tay đâu, tay đi đâu? Tay đi này, tay này. Tay đâu, đúng rồi. Đây. Đúng rồi. Đây. Ly giỏi quá. À, bắt tay cái nào. Bắt tay nè. Bắt tay nè. Bắt tay. Bây giờ bác bày ly đưa tập dục nhá. Chào không khí trong lành nhá. À, đưa hai tay lên trời nè.
The dad moved gently through each motion, and his little daughter Lily, dressed in comfortable clothes, watched with intense concentration.
Tập tiếp nhá.
She was like a mirror, her small heart beating in rhythm with her dad's every gesture.
Đúng rồi, giỏi quá. Đúng rồi.
When her dad stretched his arms, her own small hands reached for the blue sky, trying to touch the clouds. Lily's intelligence and quickness brought a smile to her dad's face, a warm smile filled with pride and boundless love.
Đi đến thắng. À, đi đi.
After exercising, the two of them walked to an old green motorcycle.
Đây, ngủ đi đây.
The dad carefully placed a blue helmet on Lily's head.
Đúng rồi. Đi ngồi sau trước. Ngồi sau đây. Cầm chân áo nhé.
And she quickly wrapped her arms tightly around his back, seeking safety and warmth for the ride home.
Nào, cẩn thận nhá. Rồi, đi thôi, đi về nhá. Cẩn thận nhá. Rồi, đi cho tôi đi. Rồi. Cắt mũ đi nhá, cắt đồ nhá. À, cắt mũ đây nè. Này, đi bỏ mũ này. Đây, bỏ mũ xuống. Ui giời ơi. Đó, bỏ lên đây cho nó Ly nhá. Đó. Đi ra đây ngồi Ly, đứng lên con. Ra đây ngồi nè, đây này. Rồi cho mát nhá. Ngồi đây. Sáng ngày sớm thì tôi có vui không? Sáng sớm lại đói không nào? Hãy kiểm tra nhá.
Upon arriving home, their hungry stomachs began to rumble. Lily scampered to the yellow refrigerator, her eyes bright with the hope of finding something delicious.
Còn miếng táo à?
But when the door opened, the joy on her face suddenly vanished. Inside, only a small slice of an apple lay lonely on a shelf. Seeing the fleeting sadness in his daughter's eyes, her dad's heart sank a little.
Đây chị nha. Vào đây nè. Đấy. Còn tiền không? Hết rồi đúng không? Đây, cho tiền nhé.
He took the apple slice, gently put it in his daughter's small crossbody bag, gave her some money, and told her to go buy more food.
Được chưa? Nha, nha. Lấy mũ đi. Cái mũ đội khỏi nắng. Đội vào, đội đúng vào. Đội cái mũi không? Ra đây cho ba chỉ ra nào. Đây. À, đúng rồi, ba xem nào. Được không? Được không? Đi về sớm nhá, thấy chưa? Không nắng thấy chưa? Rồi đi đi, đi đi. Đi về sớm đi nhá. Sớm chưa?
On her way to the grocery store, Lily stopped by the side of the road, finding a cool spot under the shade of a tree. And took out the small apple slice her dad had given her. She ate it with appreciation, savoring every bit of the single slice's sweet, crisp taste. After finishing, she continued on her way. After walking a short distance, Lily felt that something was missing. She reached for her head and realized with a jolt that she had forgotten her favorite straw hat, where she had just been resting. Worried, she turned back. Luckily, her hat was still there, lying peacefully on the grass.
Hi Lily. Lily muốn gì đó Lily?
Arriving at the grocery store, Lily was greeted by a colorful world of endless choices.
Lily muốn mua
She
gì?
stood hesitating between the plump, juicy red apples and the fragrant packages of instant noodles. She craved the apples, but then the image of her hungry dad at home flashed in her mind. Between her own desire and her love for her dad, Lily didn't hesitate to choose the noodle packages. She said goodbye to the shopkeeper and happily returned home. When she got home, Lily proudly handed the packages of noodles to her dad.
Ba cho tiền đi mua đi ăn trái cây mà. Cho tiền đi ăn trái cây mà. Mua cái này gì? Mua cái này làm gì? Bây giờ đi chế đi ăn nhá. Tao cứ đeo đi kia cả. Ha. Nào, đây là. Đây. Mua đây nhá. Cái túi vào. Túi đây. Rồi, xem còn tiền không? À, hết tiền rồi này. À, không nghĩ hết tiền rồi đúng không? Cái gì nhá. Có cái này cho nhá. À, lên đây đi, ngồi đi. Đây, ngồi đây.
After proudly giving the noodles to her dad, Lily sat obediently in her favorite chair, waiting.
Ngon không? Chắc là đói bụng đúng không? Đói bụng vẫn mua mì đúng không? Mua mì cho đi nhé. Đó, thấy chưa? Thơm không? Không thơm nhỉ? Trời ơi. Cho thử nhé. À, này đây mình đặt lại sau nhé. Bây giờ Ly ra kia ngồi chờ ba nhé. Ba chế nước nóng xong rồi mang ra uống ăn nhé. Con xuống đi con, xuống đi, xuống ra bàn đi. Chờ con, nước nóng lắm, không chơi được.
From the kitchen came the familiar clinking sounds, and soon a rich, warm aroma of noodles began to fill the house. The scent made Lily's hungry stomach growl even more, but she waited patiently. Her eyes never left the kitchen, eagerly anticipating the results of her important trip. Before long, her dad brought out a steaming bowl of hot noodles.
Đây. Rồi, đây nhá. Đi đây này. À, chết rồi, Ly. Con lấy đĩa đi, con lấy đĩa của mình đi. Đúng rồi, anh ở đây. Đúng rồi. Đây nha, để bà lấy cho Ly một miếng nha.
Wow!
Nóng
The
đấy,
two of
ngồi
them
đây,
sat together,
Chờ tí nhé.
slurping and enjoying their breakfast. The sound of slurping noodles mixed with the happy glances they shared.
Ly ngoan à? Đây. Đây, rửa Ly nhé.
The dad picked out the best piece of cucumber from his bowl for Lily, and she looked up at him blissfully, her eyes sparkling with happiness.
Rồi, đấy, con ăn đi, đúng rồi. Đấy. Cái tay bỏ tay này xuống, đúng rồi. Sát được tí nữa, Đây, rồi, bỏ tay đi, đúng rồi. Rồi, ăn đi con. Đây. Đấy, con ăn đi, đúng rồi, con ăn đi. Ăn đi. đấy. Đấy. Cầm xé lại tí nha, cầm xé lại xíu này. Xé lại xíu, đúng rồi đấy. Này ha, thật nha. Và bỏ xuống xíu nha. Cầm vào. Đúng rồi.
The meal was simple, but it was perhaps the most delicious meal ever, seasoned with the love and sincere care they had for each other.
Dưa ngon hơn hả Ly? Đúng rồi đấy. Dưa ngon hơn, đúng rồi đấy Ly nhá. Này, dưa này, bà cho thêm dưa này nha. Cắm vào đây này.
After the heartwarming breakfast of noodles filled with love, a sweet sleepiness set in. The dad and Lily took a short, peaceful nap together in their small home.
Bắt tay này. Đi. Đi thay cái đi nha. Đi thay mặt nhé.
When they woke up, the dad took Lily to the bathroom to get ready for their afternoon adventure.
Mở đi. Mở lại, đúng rồi. Này, đi căng đi.
The little girl showed great independence, holding her own toothbrush to brush her teeth, then skillfully splashing water on her face.
Đúng rồi. Đây này.
She even nimbly helped her dad turn the faucet on and off. Small actions filled with intelligence and a cooperative spirit.
Rồi, đây này. Đây nhé.
Once they were refreshed and clean, the dad took Lily outside to explore the world around them. Their first stop was the cowshed. Standing before such a large creature, Lily was a bit timid at first, hiding behind her dad's leg. But soon, her innate curiosity won over. She began to peek out, her big round eyes unblinking, captivated by the cow's every move, from the way it chewed its grass to the way its tail swished to chase away flies. A little while later, her dad took her hand and they continued their walk. This time, they visited her grandparents' house. As soon as they entered the yard, Lily ran straight to the chicken coop, where her grandparents' flock was leisurely strolling around, scratching the dirt for worms.
Đây đi. Đưa đây. Gà đi. Gà đấy. Đứng xem đi. Xem đi. Như này. Như đấy đồ gà nhé. Nhé. Gà to ly đi. Thấy không? Thấy gà to.
After observing for a while, Lily ran into the house and then struggled to carry out a bowl of chicken feed.
Chào An nhé.
Father and daughter then scattered the golden corn kernels for the flock. Watching the chickens scramble to peck at the grains, Lily giggled. Her face lit up with delight.
Đó. Cao lên con, cao lên. Chào An nhé. Đứng nào. Thấy không? Ui gà đã gì? Gì? Làm xin quả trứng nha. Đúng chưa? Lên xin quả trứng nha. Xin quả trứng nha. Anh ăn nhiều nha. Kìa, kìa, hãy như ly. Không, thích nha. Cái nào đấy nha. Đi lại nha. Đó. Đi.
When the chickens were full, the dad led Lily to where they laid their eggs. Seeing the round, warm eggs nestled in the straw, Lily cried out with joy.
Cái gà này thấy không? Nè. Nè. Đi. Cầm xe đi, cầm xe đi. Cầm đấy. Đúng rồi.
She quickly found a basket.
Đi đây, đây. Đây. Đây, đây. Đây, đây, đây. Còn lấy mấy cái. Đây đi, vào đây. Lấy mấy cái vào đây đi. Vào đây này.
And swiftly collected all the eggs into it.
Kia nữa. Nhanh lên, nó bắt đấy. Lấy đi. Mang đây, bỏ đây. Đúng rồi, 3 cái đây nhá. Lấy cái nữa không? Đây hả? Đây hả? Thôi để một cái lại nhá. Hay là lấy hết? Lấy hết hả? Thôi thế rồi.
Seeing the full basket, her dad gently explained that they should only take enough to eat, leaving the rest for the mother hen to hatch into little chicks. Understanding her dad, Lily obediently returned a few eggs to the nest. On the way home, Lily proudly helped her dad carry the basket of eggs. But before they had even left the gate, she accidentally dropped the eggs on the ground. Both of them gasped in alarm, but luckily, the thick layer of dirt cushioned the fall, and the eggs remained intact.
Đi nè. Đi. Đi này trước nha. Đi. Tiếp.
the story shifts to a different space, quiet and bright. Lily, in a cute yellow outfit, is relaxing on a beanbag chair. Suddenly, her dad walks into the room, limping slightly. He sits down on a wooden bench, his face wincing in pain as he looks at a large bleeding scrape on his elbow. Lily's cheerful mood vanishes instantly, replaced by a look of deep worry. She can't sit still anymore. Almost immediately, Lily slides off the chair and runs to her dad. Lily scrambles down and scurries down the long white hallway. She runs into a room and quickly finds the first aid kit. The white box with a red handle is quite large for her small body, but that doesn't stop the determined little nurse. Using both hands, Lily struggles to carry the heavy box, waddling back down the hallway. She places it right at her dad's feet. The dad, though in pain, feels incredibly warm inside. He opens the box.
Đi lấy cho bà tờ giấy đi. Đó, quay ra. Đừng ngồi coi em nhé, để bà làm nhé, được chưa?
Lily sits quietly in his lap, watching his every move. He takes out a bottle of yellow antiseptic, and Lily immediately holds out her hand to help hold it.
Xả hết đi nhé.
When he takes out a wipe to clean the wound, Lily quickly grabs it, wanting to clean it for him herself. Her dad gently takes it back, cleans the wound, and then uses a cotton swab to apply the medicine. Lily's eyes never leave him, following his every movement with a very serious expression. The bandaging begins.
Này mình quấn xíu là mình đỡ như chưa Ly ha. Này Ly cầm này cho ba này, cầm này cho ba nhé, cầm này. Đúng rồi. Rồi, đây này cho ba.
Dad wraps a layer of white gauze around his elbow. Lily curiously touches the gauze, as if checking to see if he's in pain. He uses medical tape to secure it, and his little nurse assists by holding the roll of tape.
Cầm này đúng rồi, cầm đi. Xé đôi em, xé em. Đó. Thấy chưa? Đó. Bỏ này thùng rác thứ ba nhé. Đây, này. Con bỏ thùng rác thứ ba đấy, đi kìa. Bỏ đi con. Đúng rồi, sao đâu? Cảm ơn Ly nhé.
When everything is done, he puts the supplies away, and Lily helps him close the lid of the first aid kit.
Đi vào nhé, vào ha. Anh làm tí nhé.
Then, her dad hugs her, and they both lie down on the bed. Lily snuggles into her dad's chest, her eyes growing heavy, finding peace and absolute safety with the person she loves most.